Hey guys, so as promised on my tweet, I have a couple videos that I'm putting together today. It's Monday, regarding Origins. This is the first one, and this will go up today, Monday. As you can see, I haven't shaved since Thursday. I mean, not even my head. So I've got like massive 5 o'clock shadow on my head. Um, and I was just going to mention something about Origins, and it starts out a little depressing, but it pulls back really quickly, so it's okay. Everything's great. But Origins was a bear. Um, it was. I went out there to work. I tried to connect with people, but unless they were capable of catering to my schedule, there was no way I was going to connect to them. And most people can't cater to my schedule because they've got their own schedules and whatever. Only two people did, so I got to see Jim and Tabby. We actually went to lunch, so I was able to spend a little time with them, but not a lot because as soon as lunch was over, I said, "You go to your escape room, and I'm going to my bedroom. Forget it." Um, the only way I was able to really have a significant amount of fun was to eat up at least 50% of my sleep time on going to the bar and drinking, which I did Friday and Saturday night. Um, but it really was just a lot of work. I had it probably easier than most of the judges because I got to do I ran Learn to Play and the demo for Bald Man Games, and that's kind of right up my alley. I loved that. I had a great time with it, great time goofing off with people, especially the kids that showed up to learn the game. So it wasn't miserable, but I felt miserable because I was running around this convention center. I hadn't been to Origins since 2009. This was not what I was used to at this point. I haven't been to Gen Con since 2000. I want to guess 14, so I'm going to 2014, let's say. Um, So these big cons, they were just I'd forgotten how they work. And I just go to Winter Fantasy, and that's really simple. You need your badge, you go to Bald Man Games. You need your schedule, you go to Bald Man Games because it's just a Bald Man Games con. So this one, I just I was a little out of sorts, and I was behaving very stupidly for the first day that I was there. But I eventually figured it out, and everything worked out. And it was a reasonably good time, but it was work, and I took vacation time to work, which kind of sucked. Um, but I knew what I was getting into, and I was trying to help out Dave with his stuff, and that's fine, that's good, that's great. Um, but it was just a lot of work, and I was really tired, and I'm sorry that I missed everybody that I wanted to see. Um, but then at the very last day, um, a couple things came together that really made this trip good, I guess. I'll start with the lesser one. Um, I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought this Star Trek Adventures, which right now on my screen looks backwards. I'm hoping the video reverses the image. But in any case, Star Trek Adventures. I'm a little concerned that I spent $64 on what will essentially amount to reading material only. I don't know that I'll ever be able to play this game unless I bite the bullet and play online, which I hate, which I might do just for the sake of it. But if I do that a few times and I get the hang of this, um, I mentioned that Ophidius didn't seem to have, that I saw anyway, any demos of Star Trek Adventures, and I wanted to play one before I bought the book so I could see if I actually liked the system, and um, and they didn't have any. They didn't have anything like that. Like, why wouldn't you demo it? But I'm sure they will at Gen Con, but I'm not going to Gen Con. And then my friend, who is the one that convinced me to buy this, saying, "Look, you're an attorney, you have no kids, you're good. Just go buy it because you can, and take a chance. Who knows?" And so I kind of broke down and I bought it without the demo. And then he also mentioned to me, "Hey, you know what? If you learn it, how about you demo it next year? Come back to Origins and demo it for them. Tell them you're willing to demo it for them and see what they say." I don't know. I'm not. Obviously, I just bought the book. I've never played it. Never haven't really read the book yet. So expecting myself to be the face of the company might be a bit arrogant, but it's there. So I got it, and I'm going to read through it, and I'll be happy reading through it, and maybe I'll play it. I kind of really like to play Phasma Star Trek again, and that's been difficult. That's been nearly impossible to get to play. So playing this might be a little easier because it's a modern game. Who knows? We'll see. So there's that. But the other two things that I got. So if you go back to my blog, and maybe you won't, but I'm just going to tell you what's there. I've got some posts where I wound up spending, I think, I'm going to guess $600. I want to say $600, so I'm going to $600, um, buying all the things from first edition and third edition, because I never played second edition, don't really care. First edition and 3.5 that I either never owned, which would just be first edition, but wanted to own, or I lost in the Satanic Panic for first edition, or I sold off for third edition. Um, Whatever. There was just some books that I wanted, and adventures and things like that. And I spent God only knows how much money, really. Not $1,000, but still hundreds of dollars, um, buying all these books. And I also got lucky because my friend James, he gave me the third edition deities and demigods. He just gave it to me. He said, "Here you go, you're good." Because I'm sure you'll make use of it and use it in a game that you invent, and I'll get to play it. So, here you go. And it's the deities and demigods that has the 3.5 updates in the back. So it's great. It's perfect, perfect. And I've got all these books back, but there were some I couldn't get. Um, and there were four books I really wanted from first edition that I'd sold off. Deities and Demigods I just talked about, and Drow of the Underdark, which I was able to purchase through DM's Guild as a soft cover, but nevertheless a hard copy, a real world version of it. But there were two I couldn't get. They weren't on sale. Um, they're on sale as PDFs. And if I go to eBay, I'm spending well over $100 for each book, and I'm just not willing to do that on principle. I, I, I came close to that when I bought a mint condition first edition Wilderness Survival Guide by Kim Mohan, but signed by James Ward. Now I've got that in my collection, which is awesome. Um, but I'm just not going to pay over $100 for books that might not even be in good condition, and it's not. I'm not going to do it. But my friend Eric had a couple copies of these last two books that I wanted, and he just gave them to me. Suckers, I got these, the Fiendish Codexes from third edition, and I'm telling you, I really love how they took the culture of the demons and devils, and I give all credit to Rob Schwab, even though he's got half credit on only one of the books. But he's a sicko, so he did the Devils. Um, but Robin D. Laws and Rob did the Devils, and James Jacobs and Eric Mona did the Demons. And what I like what they did was they expanded on and really added depth to the difference between Devils and Demons. They expanded on the Blood War a little bit, um, but I really liked how they dealt with demons as those that possess and devils as those that are trapped in hell and manipulate through the use of contracts, you know. Um, and I really like how and that's all modern. Everybody knows that stuff, but the whole point is I like the fact that they expanded on it. It gave it some depth, made a little bit more to it, added some monsters and stuff like that. And obviously, I don't like 3.5, so obviously, I'm not going to use these directly, but I can use them in whatever systems I play. Um, and so I'm really thrilled I got that. And then after all that good news pulls back on how tired and miserable I am from this trip, I have to pull back on the good news a little bit. In having this conversation with Eric, Eric mentions the Book of Vile Darkness, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I don't have that. I want that. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm never giving that up. And if you know Eric, you know why. It's not his. That's right up his alley. There's no way he's giving that up. And I didn't ask for it. I knew not to ask for it. I think this is pretty generous, and I think I owe him. And it's not about money because I bought his lunch on the way back. I almost paid for one of these books eBay prices just by buying his lunch, which I just did because he's a friend. But I mean, I owe him for this. Forget money, I owe him for this, and I got to figure that out. But because that was great that I got these. I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. I have these. So really, the only book that I want that I'm refusing to pay over $100 for is the Book of Isle Darkness from 3.5. So that's it. If once I get that, if I ever get that, I have everything I could ever want that's D&D related. I mean, I want nothing else. That's it. That's the last thing on the list. Um, and I didn't even know I wanted it until he mentioned it. Um, and if I do get it, I would probably want to get the Book of Exalted Deeds because I liked how they fleshed that out, that dichotomy out as well in 3.5. So that's it. So overall, I would say these books make that trip wonderful. Um, Despite the fact that I didn't get to see my friends at Origins, but that's okay. I mean, I got to see some. I got to see some, and I went there on a mission, and I fulfilled that mission, so there are no regrets. It's not a bad thing. It's first world problems, right? I mean, right? But but friends are important to everybody. So in any world. So yeah, I wish I had seen them, but still it was a work trip. I was going there to help Dave out, and that's that. And I did that, so that's it. That's all you get. Um, so I guess now what I have to do is add this badge, my Origins badge, to my badges that I keep. Oh, badges that I keep hung on the side of my bookshelf, which you can't see, but it's there. I swear. Maybe you can see. Let's see here. Yeah, there you go. All my badges and some other things that aren't gaming related, um, but are important to me nonetheless. They're mostly gaming badges, but I got something else up there that's not gaming related that's important in a similar way. Um, so they're there, and then I got to get my friend Jason these Origins dice that he wanted. They were from what do you call them? Crystal Cast. I got a copy of them for him. They also had an Origins six-sided die that you had to have a coupon for. Jason's not getting that. I'm keeping that. Um, Add to my collection of Winter Fantasy ones, and then Eric is trying to convince me to go back next year, but I'm going to have to talk to Dave about it because there's only one way I do it, and it's quite an ask. So I don't know if I'm going to go back to Origins next year. We'll see. Talk to me in a month, and maybe I'll have a better idea whether or not I want to go. Or don't talk to me because it doesn't really affect you most likely. But Origins is an okay con. It's not exactly up my alley. I'd really rather go to Winter Fantasy, stick with a con that's 500 people or less, and where I can just go and hang out with people, not even worry about gaming, not worry about working because it's my vacation, and be able to get into a hotel room that's less than $200 a night, yet is right across the street from everything that I need, the bars, the convention center. That's what I want. That's what Winter Fantasy will always give me because it's in February in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and the weather will always cap the the number of people there. So Winter Fantasy is what I want to do. Origins a little bit too big. Gen Con not only too big for me, but also too big for the cities. So forget that. Never doing that again. Gamehole Con and Gary Con. Brian CP Steele tried to convince me to go to Gamehole Con this year, and I looked into it, and I looked into it in mid-February, and this is a fall con. It's September, October, something like that. And already all the hotel rooms near the convention were sold out. So I'm not paying. That's where my number comes from. I'm not paying over $200 a night for a room that's 3 miles away from the con. No, I'm not going to do it. That's not a con to me. That's not any con I'm interested in. Even though it would be great for me to attend it because then I'd be able to play first edition with people who play it all the time, know it really well, and can critique my knowledge of the game and how I run my game and that sort of thing. Um, no, I think you should expect me just to do Winter Fantasy going forward, but maybe I'll do Origins. We'll see. We'll see. But it was overall, I would say it was a good experience. Just not one I expect to do every year. Your mileage may vary, but damn, I got those books and you don't. Ah. All right, everyone. I got a funny story from Origins. I'll put that on tomorrow's video. And happy gaming, guys.